Once upon a time, there was a person who often wondered why their life seemed stuck in the same place, even though they worked hard, dreamed big, and desired success just like everyone else. Then one day they came across the wisdom of Jim Rohn, who said that success is not something grand or distant, but the result of a few simple disciplines practiced every single day. Among those disciplines, dedicating just 1 hour a day to self-development could completely transform a person's life. At first, 1 hour seemed too small to matter, just 60 minutes out of 24 hours. But soon they realized that when used with purpose, this single hour was sacred. It wasn't for work, scrolling through a phone, or meeting others' expectations. It was for themselves, to learn, to reflect, and to grow. They imagined spending 1 hour a day reading. Within a week, they would finish a book. In a year, over 50, and in 5 years, hundreds. Numbers achieved by only the top 1% of people. But the true magic wasn't in the number of books. It was in the new ideas, fresh perspectives, and knowledge that expanded their mind, helping them think and act like a successful person. They learned that learning is the beginning of all miracles, and each hour spent studying was a seed for future prosperity. Even if reading wasn't their strength, they could use that hour to write a journal, to reflect on what they had learned, what they felt, and what they wished to change. Writing helped them think deeply, untangle emotions, and see their path more clearly. They realized how often they repeated mistakes unconsciously and wasted time living without awareness. Sometimes that hour became a time for exercise, not only to strengthen the body but also the mind. Meditation, breathing, running, or lifting weights all brought clarity and confidence. A strong body gave them courage. A calm mind gave them wisdom. They didn't have to change their entire life at once, only to start with 1 hour a day. 1 hour each day became 365 hours a year, enough to learn a new skill, build a project, or simply become a better version of themselves. This habit didn't require quitting their job or sacrificing what they had. It only asked for one promise: to spend 60 undistracted minutes every day investing in their future. After 30 days, they began to feel different. After 90, others noticed. After a year, they could no longer recognize their old self. The great transformation had started with one small act. Most people ignored this simple power, thinking 1 hour couldn't change anything, but they didn't see the compounding effect of 1% daily improvement over 3,700% growth in a year. Jim Rohn warned that if you don't control your time, the world will steal it. With news, social media, and meaningless tasks, that hour a day became their way of reclaiming control. Each time they sat down to learn, they told their subconscious mind, "I deserve more. I am serious about my life." Their thinking became clearer, their focus sharper, and their choices more purposeful. They didn't need to achieve greatness in that hour. They only needed to be consistent, reading 20 pages, planning, or listening to a talk by Jim Rohn. Each small action was a brick, and over time they built a fortress of discipline and awareness. They asked themselves, do I want to remain the same person, with the same fears and limits, or do I want to look in the mirror and see a brighter, stronger, more courageous version of myself? The answer was clear. They learned that waiting for the perfect time was a trap. Time never appears, you must create it. Jim Rohn said time is more valuable than money. You can earn more money, but never more time. So they protected that 1 hour as their most precious asset. With each day, they lived more intentionally, understanding their path, no longer dragged by chaos. They imagined using that hour to practice a single skill: public speaking, writing, critical thinking, or managing money. And in a year, they would have practiced for 365 hours, equal to more than 45 full working days. They realized success didn't require talent, only persistence. That 1 hour a day built discipline, and discipline built identity. They no longer saw themselves as someone trying to improve. They were the kind of person who improved daily. The learner became knowledgeable. The writer became a writer. As their identity shifted, so did their life. Opportunities appeared, valuable relationships grew, and growth became natural. Not because of luck, but because they had become ready. One day they looked back and smiled, realizing it wasn't luck or circumstance. It was them, the person who had stayed faithful to the golden hour each day, who had believed in the power of discipline. Jim Rohn once said that discipline is the foundation of all success, and without it, failure is inevitable. So they began. Not waiting for the first of the month or a perfect plan. Just setting a timer for 60 minutes, turning off notifications, and choosing one meaningful task. They did it again the next day and again until it became their way of life. What started as a challenge became a lifestyle. They became someone with focus, strength, and purpose, the kind of person their old self would admire if they met again a year later. And so, if there is one thing worth starting today, it is to give yourself 1 hour each day, to learn, to grow, to change, and to prove that you can become the person you've always wanted to be.